You know, there's a moment in life when it hits you hard that nobody cares. Your dreams, your problems, your struggles, they're yours. The world is too busy with its own issues. And if you sit around waiting for someone to come and rescue you, you'll be sitting there forever. Now, some people, they'll sympathize for a second, maybe even lend an ear, but the truth is, they're not going to live your life for you. They got their own battles. You see, it's not personal, it's life. But here's the thing, what happens next is all on you. You can choose to stay stuck waiting for someone else to fix it, or you can decide right here, right now, to take control. The most important person in your life is you. Not in a selfish way, but in a responsible way. Because if you don't take charge, no one else will. You ever notice how the world keeps turning? No matter what happens, it doesn't stop for your bad day. It doesn't pause because you're feeling down. And this is not to make you feel small, but to make you understand that your power lies in what you do next. Nobody cares about your dreams the way you do. That's the harsh reality, but it's also a freeing truth. We all walk around with our goals, ambitions, and challenges, thinking that maybe, just maybe, someone out there will come along and hand us the key to success, the solution to our problems. But that's not how life works. No one's going to hand you your dreams on a silver platter, no matter how badly you want them. Why? Because they've got their own dreams, their own issues, their own lives to live. At first, this might sound discouraging, but it's actually empowering when you think about it. If no one else cares about your life as much as you do, then guess who holds all the power? You. It's up to you to decide how much effort, energy, and time you're willing to invest in making things happen. No one else is going to wake up early to grind for your dreams. No one else is going to stay up late, working, learning, struggling to push forward. That's on you. The world is full of people dealing with their own struggles. They might nod in agreement when you talk about your challenges. They might even offer words of encouragement. But at the end of the day, they're going to go home, put their head on their pillow, and focus on their own problems. And that's fine, because it's not their job to fix your life. It's yours. The moment you stop expecting others to be invested in your success is the moment you set yourself free to take full control of your destiny. What you have to understand is that personal responsibility is not a burden, it's a gift. Imagine a life where you're dependent on someone else to achieve your goals. Imagine how frustrating it would be waiting for someone to care enough to help you get where you need to go. You'd be stuck powerless, waiting for external validation or assistance that might never come. But when you accept that nobody cares as much as you do, you step into a position of power. You become the author of your own story. Think about it, every single success story you've ever heard of, every person who has made it to the top, they got there because they took personal responsibility for their journey. They didn't sit around hoping someone else would pave the way for them. They knew that the only person who truly had the power to change their life was themselves. The problem for a lot of people is that they spend too much time waiting for others to notice their struggle. They want someone to come along and say, "I see you, I understand." Let me help, but the truth is, even when people do notice, it's usually in passing. They may offer sympathy or encouragement, but that's not enough. You can't build your life on someone else's sympathy. You can't achieve your goals by waiting for someone else's validation. There's nothing wrong with asking for help when you need it, but help is a tool, not a solution. The solution is your own drive, your own dedication. You have to care about your life more than anyone else does, because if you don't, no one else will. Personal responsibility is about owning your life, every part of it, the good, the bad, the ugly. If you're not where you want to be, it's not someone else's fault. Sure, life can throw curveballs, and not everything that happens is your doing, but how you respond to those challenges, that's all on you. You can either let life happen to you, or you can take charge and decide what you're going to make of it. You can't wait for the world to give you permission to succeed. You can't wait for someone to say, "Now is your time," that moment when it will never come if you're sitting back waiting for it. The world doesn't owe you anything. The people around you don't owe you anything. And that's not to say you're not deserving, because you are, but deserving something and earning it are two different things. You have to get out there and claim what's yours. You have to be willing to outwork, outthink, and outlast everyone else, because no one else is going to do it for you. When you stop expecting others to care about your life as much as you do, You free yourself from disappointment. You free yourself from resentment. You free yourself from the waiting game. And when you finally focus on what you can do on the effort, on the grind, on the hustle, that's when you unlock your true potential. So here's the takeaway: if nobody cares about your dreams as much as you do, then good, because that means you have the freedom to make it happen. The power is in your hands. No one else is coming to do the work for you. It's your life. It's your responsibility. And that's exactly where your strength lies. Self-determination is one of the most powerful forces you possess. It's the ability to decide your path, to choose how you respond to life's circumstances, and to take full ownership of where you're headed. Life is unpredictable. Sometimes things go exactly the way we want them to, and other times everything seems to fall apart. But no matter what happens, the one thing that remains within your control is how you choose to move forward. That's self-determination, the inner drive to keep going, to keep pushing, even when the odds seem stacked against you. The thing about life is that it doesn't care whether or not you feel ready. It doesn't wait for you to catch up. It just happens. And in those moments when everything feels overwhelming, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that the world is out to get you or that you're somehow powerless to change your situation. But the truth is, you have more control than you think. Self-determination is the key to unlocking that control. When you decide that no matter what comes your way, you're going to stay focused on your goal, that's when things start to change. The external circumstances may not shift immediately, but the way you navigate them does. You stop reacting to life and you start responding. There's a difference. Reaction is about emotion, about getting caught up in the moment and letting frustration or disappointment dictate your next move. But response, that's deliberate. That's grounded in your vision and your determination to stay on course no matter how rocky the road gets. Self-determination is not about having all the answers. It's about trusting yourself to find them as you go. Sometimes we hold ourselves back because we don't feel like we're ready. We wait for the perfect time, the perfect plan, the perfect circumstances, but those things rarely exist. If you spend your life waiting for everything to line up perfectly, you'll be waiting forever. The people who achieve great things aren't the ones who waited for the right moment, they're the ones who created the moment. They stepped into the unknown, not because they had it all figured out, but because they trusted themselves to figure it out along the way. That's what self-determination is all about. It's knowing that no matter what obstacles appear, you have the power to overcome them. It's understanding that setbacks are part of the process, not the end of the road. It's believing that you have what it takes to make your dreams a reality, even when the world tells you otherwise. The more you believe in your own ability to determine your future, the more resilient you become. Resilience isn't about avoiding failure, it's about bouncing back from it stronger and more determined than before. But here's the thing, self-determination also means taking responsibility for your choices. It means understanding that where you are today is a result of the decisions you've made up until now. And while you can't control everything that happens to you, you can control how you respond. You can control how you let those experiences shape you. You can choose to let them break you, or you can choose to let them build you. That's the essence of self-determination, taking control of the narrative and deciding that you're going to write your own story, no matter what. One of the biggest barriers to self-determination is fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of stepping into the unknown. But the reality is, fear is always going to be there. It's part of being human. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to act in spite of it. Self-determined people understand that fear is just another hurdle to jump over. They don't let it paralyze them, they acknowledge it, but they keep moving forward anyway. And that's what you have to do. You have to make the decision every single day that you're going to keep pushing, even when it's hard, even when you're tired, even when you don't know exactly what the next step looks like. Because here's the truth, nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody's going to hand you your dreams or your goals on a silver platter. It's up to you to take them. It's up to you to decide that you're going to be relentless in the pursuit of what you want. Self-determination means showing up every day no matter what. It means taking risks, embracing uncertainty, and trusting that you have what it takes to handle whatever comes your way. It's not about waiting for the right conditions, it's about creating them. It's about digging deep, finding that inner strength, and letting it guide you through the tough times. When you are self-determined, you stop being at the mercy of your circumstances. You stop letting life happen to you, and you start happening to life. You take control, not just of your actions, but of your mindset. Because at the end of the day, your mind is your greatest weapon. If you believe you can achieve something, you're already halfway there. If you doubt yourself, you've already lost. Make the decision. Decide that you're going to be the one who takes control of your future. Decide that no matter what happens, you're going to keep moving forward. That's self-determination. It's a choice, and it's one you have to make every single day. Because when you do, there's nothing that can stop you. You become unstoppable, unshakable, and ultimately you become the person who turns dreams into reality. Ignoring distractions is one of the most crucial skills you can develop in life. In a world that's constantly vying for your attention, social media, news, opinions, gossip, it's easy to get pulled off course. Every day you're bombarded with things that seem urgent but aren't important. And if you're not careful, these distractions can consume your time, your energy, and your focus, leaving you further away from your goals. The reality is, the more you let outside noise dictate your actions, the less progress you'll make. Success demands focus, and focus means learning to tune out what doesn't matter. The truth is, most people spend too much time worrying about what others are doing, saying, or thinking. They get caught up in comparison, scrolling through social media, looking at someone else's life and wondering why they haven't achieved the same level of success or happiness. But here's the hard truth: comparing yourself to others is a trap. It's a distraction that pulls you away from your own journey. The moment you start looking at what someone else is doing is the moment you take your eyes off your own path. And the more time you spend looking at someone else's success, the less time you spend building your own. The world loves to tell you what you should be doing, how you should be living, and what success looks like. But if you're constantly chasing someone else's definition of success, you'll never find fulfillment. You have to stay focused on what matters to you, what's important to your life, your dreams, your goals. Everyone's path is different. Just because someone else is ahead in one area doesn't mean you're behind in yours. It's not a race, it's a marathon. And the only person you're competing with is the person you were yesterday. To focus on your own life, you have to learn to say no to the things that don't align with your vision. And sometimes that means saying no to people. Not everyone is going to understand your journey, and not everyone will support it. Some people will criticize you, others will doubt you, and many will offer their unsolicited opinions. But guess what? Their opinions don't pay your bills. Their judgments don't achieve your goals. Their doubts don't define your future. You have to be willing to block out the negativity, the noise, and the distractions that come from others. There will always be people who don't get it, who don't understand why you're working so hard, why you're sacrificing certain things, why you're so driven. And that's okay. They don't have to understand. You're not doing it for them. You're doing it for you, your vision, your passion, your dreams. So why waste time trying to convince them? Why let their opinions pull you away from the mission you're on? Stay locked in. Keep your eyes on the prize. Distractions come in many forms. Sometimes it's the constant stream of notifications on your phone pulling you into meaningless conversations or hours of scrolling through feeds that add nothing to your life. Sometimes it's the self-doubt that creeps in when things aren't going as planned, and other times it's the people around you who don't believe in your vision. But the common theme in all distractions is that they divert your energy away from what truly matters. They take your time, your focus, and your momentum. The more you entertain distractions, the more you delay your progress. Every time you give in to the temptation to check your phone, to worry about what someone else is saying about you, to compare yourself to others, you're giving away a piece of your power. You're allowing external forces to control your life instead of being in control yourself. Success is about consistency. It's about showing up day after day, even when you don't feel like it, even when distractions are calling your name. It's about staying disciplined and focused on the bigger picture, even when the little things are pulling you in a million different directions. And distractions don't always look like distractions. Sometimes they disguise themselves as opportunities, but they're really just pulling you off course It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of something new or to chase a shiny object that seems like it might be the next big thing. But you have to ask yourself, does this align with my vision? Does this move me closer to my goals, or is it just another detour? If it's not part of the plan, if it doesn't serve your purpose, then it's a distraction, no matter how appealing it might seem in the moment. One of the greatest skills you can develop is the ability to focus on your own lane, to drown out the noise and stay committed to what matters to you, to not be swayed by what others are doing or saying. Because at the end of the day, nobody else is living your life. Nobody else has your dreams, your goals, or your responsibilities. You're the one who has to wake up every day and do the work. You're the one who has to live with the consequences of your decisions. So why let distractions dictate your path? The road to success is not always glamorous. It's often filled with long hours, hard work, and sacrifice. And along the way, distractions will pop up trying to pull you off course. But the difference between those who make it and those who don't is simple. The ones who succeed are the ones who stay focused. They keep their eyes on their own paper. They don't let distractions take them off their grind. They know what they're working for, and they're willing to block out everything else to get there. In the end, it's all about focus. The more you can ignore distractions, the more time and energy you can dedicate to what really matters. The more you stay locked in on your own life, the closer you get to your goals. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. So turn off the noise, let go of the comparisons. Stop worrying about what everyone else is doing, focus on your life, and watch how much progress you make. Overcoming the victim mentality is one of the most crucial steps toward real growth and success. It's easy to fall into the trap of feeling like the world is against you, that circumstances are unfair, and that life is harder for you than it is for everyone else. In fact, sometimes that might even be true. Life is unfair. It's unpredictable, and it doesn't always go the way you want. But the moment you start to see yourself as a victim, as someone who is powerless and at the mercy of outside forces, you've already given away your greatest asset, your ability to choose how you respond. There's a difference between acknowledging that life has dealt you a difficult hand and letting that hand define you. When you live in a victim mentality, you're constantly waiting for someone else to change your situation. You're waiting for external circumstances to improve, for someone to swoop in and rescue you, for the world to give you a break. But here's the hard truth: that's not how life works. No one is coming to save you. You have to save yourself. And the moment you realize that, you take back the power that victim mentality has stolen from you. Being a victim feels comfortable because it takes the responsibility off your shoulders. If everything is someone else's fault, whether it's a boss, a partner, the government, or society, then you don't have to change. You don't have to look in the mirror and confront the choices you've made or the actions you've taken. But living in that mindset also keeps you stuck. It keeps you from making progress because you're constantly looking outward, blaming circumstances instead of looking inward and taking control of what you can change. The problem with victim mentality is that it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more you see yourself as powerless, the less likely you are to take action. You start to believe that no matter what you do, it won't make a difference, so why even bother? And that belief, more than anything else, is what holds people back. It's not the circumstances, it's the mindset. Because while you can't always control what happens to you, you can control how you respond. You can control the narrative you create around your experiences. Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. That's not just a cliche, it's a fact. We all face hardships. We all deal with setbacks, disappointments, and challenges. But the difference between those who succeed and those who don't is how they choose to respond. Do you let your circumstances define you, or do you define your circumstances? Do you allow setbacks to be the excuse for why you didn't make it, or do you use them as fuel to push you even harder? The victim mentality tells you that you're stuck where you are because of things outside of your control. It convinces you that your life is harder, that people don't understand, that the world is unfair. And maybe there's truth in that. Maybe your situation is harder than someone else's. But focusing on that doesn't change anything. What changes things is when you decide that no matter how hard it is, you're going to keep pushing forward. You're going to rise above it. You're going to take responsibility for your life, even when it feels like everything is working against you. It's easy to get sympathy when you play the victim. People will feel bad for you. They'll offer words of comfort. They might even give you a pass when you fail. But sympathy doesn't lead to success. Sympathy doesn't push you forward. It keeps you in the same place, stuck in the same cycle. Success comes from taking accountability, from saying, yes, this situation is difficult, but I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to do what I need to do, regardless of the obstacles. The reality is, life isn't always going to be fair. Some people start with advantages that you don't have. Some people will face fewer obstacles than you do, but if you spend your time focusing on that, you'll never move forward. You'll never tap into your full potential because you'll be too busy thinking about how unfair things are instead of doing the work to overcome them. When you let go of the victim mentality, you open yourself up to possibilities. You stop seeing the world as something that's happening to you, and you start seeing it as something you can shape, mold, and navigate. Overcoming the victim mentality doesn't mean ignoring the challenges or pretending that everything is fine when it's not. It means acknowledging the difficulties but refusing to let them control you. It means deciding that despite everything that's happened, you still have the power to change your life. It's not about waiting for a miracle or a break or for someone else to give you permission to succeed. It's about taking ownership of your life and saying, I'm in control, I can change this. It's a shift in mindset that changes everything. Once you stop blaming the world for your problems and start looking for ways to solve them, you become unstoppable. You start seeing opportunities where you used to see roadblocks. You start believing in your ability to overcome rather than feeling defeated before you even try. The victim mentality keeps you focused on the problem, but when you let go of it, you start focusing on the solution. And here's the most important part: when you overcome the victim mentality, you inspire others to do the same. People see your resilience, your determination, your refusal to be held down by your circumstances, and it gives them the courage to rise above theirs. You become a living example of what's possible when you stop waiting for the world to change and decide to change yourself instead. So no matter what you're facing, no matter how difficult it seems, know this: you have the power to change your story. You don't have to be a victim. You can rise above it. You can take control. You can overcome. And when you do, you'll realize that the power to shape your life has been within you all along. You just had to decide to use it. Embracing responsibility is a game changer in life. It's the moment you stop waiting for things to happen and start making them happen. It's the shift from blaming circumstances, people, or even luck, and recognizing that you hold the keys to your own destiny. Owning your life means acknowledging that you are responsible for your decisions, your actions, and ultimately your outcomes. This mindset isn't just empowering, it's liberating. It frees you from the limitations that come with feeling like a passenger in your own life and puts you firmly in the driver's seat. When you embrace responsibility, you accept that while you can't control everything that happens, you can control how you respond to it. Life will always throw challenges your way: financial struggles, relationship issues, career setbacks, but how you handle those moments is what separates success from stagnation. Responsibility means looking at every situation and asking yourself, what can I do to improve this? Rather than, why is this happening to me? It's a mindset that shifts you from reactive to proactive, from being at the mercy of life's ups and downs to becoming the architect of your own success. Many people are afraid to embrace responsibility because it means acknowledging their role in where they are today. It's easier to point fingers and say, I'm in this situation because of my upbringing, my boss, or the economy. While all of those factors might be real, dwelling on them keeps you stuck. Responsibility is about taking ownership of your choices. Even when things go wrong, there's always a lesson to be learned, always an opportunity to grow. The sooner you realize that you have control over your responses, your actions, and your effort, the sooner you can start making real progress in life. Taking responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself for every bad thing that happens. It doesn't mean ignoring the role of external factors or pretending that life is always fair. But it does mean understanding that, regardless of the cards you've been dealt, you still have power. You have the power to decide how you'll play those cards. You have the power to decide whether you'll keep pushing forward or let setbacks define you. Responsibility is about owning that power and using it to create the life you want. When you embrace responsibility, you stop waiting for permission to succeed. You stop relying on external validation or approval, and you start relying on yourself. Too often, people get stuck in a cycle of waiting for the right time, waiting for someone to give them an opportunity, waiting for things to get easier. But if you're always waiting, you'll never move. Responsibility is about recognizing that the right time is now. The opportunities you're waiting for aren't coming unless you create them. And life isn't going to get easier, you're just going to get stronger. Embracing responsibility also means understanding that your decisions have consequences, both good and bad. When things go right, it's easy to take credit. But when things go wrong, responsibility demands that you don't shift the blame onto others. If you made a mistake, own it. If you took a wrong turn, accept it. This kind of accountability is what builds character. It's what separates those who grow from their experiences from those who repeat the same mistakes over and over again. Responsibility doesn't just mean owning your successes, it means owning your failures too and using them as stepping stones to something better. One of the most powerful things about embracing responsibility is the mindset shift it creates. Instead of seeing obstacles as things that are happening to you, you start seeing them as challenges you can overcome. You begin to look for solutions instead of problems, and that shift in focus makes all the difference. Responsibility puts you in control of your own life because when you believe that your actions matter, you start taking action. You stop sitting on the sidelines hoping for a break and you start making moves to create the future you want. This doesn't mean that life will suddenly become easy. There will still be moments where you feel overwhelmed, where things don't go according to plan, or where you're tempted to fall back into the trap of blaming circumstances. But when you've embraced responsibility, those moments don't derail you. They become part of the process. You learn to take setbacks in stride, knowing that each challenge is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to get closer to your goals. Another key aspect of embracing responsibility is how it impacts your relationships. When you take responsibility for your actions, it changes how you interact with others. You stop blaming people for your problems, and instead you focus on what you can do to improve the situation. This doesn't just apply to professional relationships, but to personal ones as well. Whether it's a romantic relationship, a friendship, or a partnership, responsibility means being accountable for your role in the dynamic. It means being honest about where you need to improve and taking steps to make those improvements. It also means setting boundaries and knowing when to say no. Part of embracing responsibility is recognizing that you are responsible for your own well-being, and that means not letting others dictate how you live your life. You can't be responsible for everyone else's happiness, and you can't allow other people's expectations to control your decisions. Responsibility is about taking charge of your own life, and sometimes that means making tough decisions that not everyone will agree with. But as long as you are staying true to your values and your vision, you are on the right path. Ultimately, embracing responsibility is about freedom. It's about freeing yourself from the limitations of blaming others, of feeling like a victim of circumstances, and of waiting for someone else to fix your problems. When you take responsibility, you take control. You realize that your life is yours to shape, and that's an incredibly powerful realization. It doesn't mean that life will be easy, but it does mean that you have the power to handle whatever comes your way. Responsibility is about stepping into your full potential and owning every part of your journey, knowing that no matter where you've been, you have the power to decide where you're going. Taking consistent action is the key that separates dreams from reality. Everyone has goals, aspirations, and things they want to achieve, but not everyone follows through. The difference between those who succeed and those who merely wish for success lies in the ability to take consistent, deliberate action day after day, even when it's hard, even when it's inconvenient. Because the truth is, success doesn't come from grand gestures or occasional bursts of effort. It comes from the steady grind of showing up and doing the work, no matter what. It's easy to get motivated in the beginning when the idea of reaching your goals feels exciting and fresh. You envision the results, the new career, the improved health, the financial stability, the sense of accomplishment. In those early stages, you're driven by the vision of what's possible. But motivation is fleeting. It fades with time, especially when the reality of the effort required sets in. That's when the temptation to quit, to slow down, or to put things off until tomorrow creeps in. And this is where consistent action becomes crucial. Consistency is about doing what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. It's about discipline, not just motivation. Motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you going when the initial excitement is worn off. Consistent action means pushing through the days when you don't feel inspired, when progress feels slow, and when the results aren't immediately visible. It's about understanding that each step you take, no matter how small, is moving you closer to your goal. One of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting for the perfect time to take action. They think they need to feel more prepared, more confident, or more motivated before they can begin. But there's no such thing as the perfect time. The right time is now. Waiting only delays your progress. The truth is, you don't need to have everything figured out before you start. You just need to take that first step, and then the next, and then the one after that. Consistent action creates momentum, and once you have momentum, it's much easier to keep going. Progress often comes in small, seemingly insignificant steps. It's easy to get frustrated when the results don't come as quickly as you'd like, or when it feels like your efforts aren't making a difference. But success is a long game. It's not about making huge leaps overnight. It's about steadily moving forward, bit by bit. Each day that you take action, you're building something. Even if you can't see the results yet, they're happening. The compound effect of small actions taken consistently over time is incredibly powerful. It's what leads to breakthroughs, to mastery, and to the kind of success that lasts. Consistency also builds trust in yourself. When you show up for yourself every day, you prove to yourself that you're capable, that you're disciplined, and that you can follow through on your commitments. This self-trust is essential because it builds confidence and resilience. It teaches you that you don't need to rely on motivation alone. You can rely on your ability to take action, no matter how you feel. Over time, this consistency becomes a habit. And once something becomes a habit, it becomes much easier to maintain. Taking consistent action doesn't mean being perfect. It doesn't mean never making mistakes or never getting off track. Life happens. There will be days when you miss a workout, skip a task, or fall short of your plan. The key is not to let those moments derail you. Consistency isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. It's about getting back on track after you stumble. It's about having the mindset that no matter what happens, you're committed to moving forward. One of the biggest benefits of consistent action is that it creates progress, even in the face of setbacks. When you're consistent, a bad day doesn't ruin your progress because the good days far outnumber the bad. Over time, the positive actions you take compound, and those setbacks become minor bumps in the road rather than complete roadblocks. Consistency allows you to stay focused on the bigger picture, knowing that each step, no matter how small, is getting you closer to your goal. Another important aspect of taking consistent action is understanding the power of routines. When you create a routine that supports your goals, you eliminate the need to constantly rely on willpower or motivation. Your routine becomes automatic, and that makes it much easier to stay consistent. Whether it's setting aside time each day to work on your goals, developing healthy habits, or creating a structure for your day that keeps you on track, routines are a powerful tool for maintaining consistency. Consistency also requires patience. We live in a world that glorifies instant results, but real success takes time. It's easy to get discouraged when you don't see immediate results, but that's where patience comes in. You have to trust the process. You have to believe that the work you're putting in today will pay off tomorrow, even if you can't see the full picture yet. This trust in the process is what allows you to keep going when others quit. Taking consistent action requires a strong sense of purpose. It's important to know why you're doing what you're doing. When you have a clear purpose, when you know exactly what you're working toward and why it matters to you, it's much easier to stay consistent. Your purpose becomes your anchor, something you can hold on to when the journey gets tough. It reminds you that the effort is worth it, that the challenges are temporary, and that the rewards are on the other side of persistence. In the end, success isn't about doing something extraordinary once. It's about doing the ordinary small things consistently over time. It's about showing up every day, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it, and even when the results aren't immediate. This is where real growth happens. This is where success is built. So take action today, and then take action tomorrow, and the day after that. Stay consistent, stay focused, and trust that every step you take is bringing you closer to the life you want. The results will come, but only if you keep moving forward one step at a time.